So, you have been vigorously championing the cause of women empowerment, gender equality, social equality, disability rights of the differently able, and that is reflected in most of your judgments and orders. What is the motivating factor behind all this?
Well, I guess part of it is your own personal philosophy, but I don't really rest only with my own personal philosophy on these issues, because I believe the overarching philosophy which we as judges follow is the philosophy of the Constitution. So our Constitution mandates gender equality. Our Constitution, in emphasizing issues such as the dignity of human beings, speaks about the rights of the differently able. So the work which we are doing in terms of fostering greater gender equality is in terms of basic constitutional values which we have espoused. I wouldn't like to speak about my own judgments or the judgments which have been delivered by the Supreme Court, which is something which others should critique and understand. But we have been doing a lot of work on the ground in terms of improving access to justice. For instance, we have brought out a handbook on gender, which seeks to explain to lawyers and non-lawyers alike in very simple terms why legal discourse needs to be gender sensitive, and which are the terms in legal discourse which are perhaps insensitive to the concerns of a more equal society in terms of gender. We have also brought out a handbook on equality in relation to the rights of the differently abled. And I think in the work which we have done, our effort is therefore to make sure that the work of the court reaches out to different segments, including the marginalized groups in our society. Recently, we conducted an accessibility audit of the Supreme Court to try and see which are the areas in the operation of the Supreme Court which pose barriers to persons who have difficulty in gaining access because of their physical needs and requirements, and whether it's in terms of having a more accessible website of the Supreme Court, in substituting visual captures with captures which are accessible to people who have visual impairment, in terms of the physical infrastructure which we provide and upgrading that infrastructure. Our effort has been to make the Supreme Court more accessible. As part of that initiative, we have set up a cafe, called the Mitti Cafe, which is entirely run by differently able citizens. And the idea about setting up this cafe was to bring focus on the needs, the requirements, and the presence of the differently abled citizens in our society, and to bring home the message to society at large that each of them is capable of living a dignified life on equal terms as the rest of society.